Welcome to another episode of What's the Word podcast. Your man DYCKMAN Drew, and tonight I got a special guest. Not only because he's a personal friend of mine, but because he's someone, him along with his team are responsible for history when it comes to this music thing. And I think they've been more impactful than any artist that ever came out of the areas that we from, which is Washington Heights and Dyckman. And he's responsible for a show called CIPHAS. And if you're from New York, you know what that is. And I'm not going to hold y'all up too long. I got my man G from CIPHAS. G, what's good, my brother?
My brother Drew, what's going on, baby?
What's the word, man? How you doing, man? How's the family? How's everything?
Chilling, man. How's yours through this, crazy times, man?
No, we good. I wasn't socializing with people when I was back home. So out here,
easy, right?
Bro. This shit easy, bro. Like I wasn't hanging out with nobody when I lived in the town. Nah, man. You guys, bro. You, Gab, Stalin, like you guys, what you guys came up with and what you guys did is legendary. You know what I mean? Like, I need the people that may not know that just getting with what we're doing and what's going on now. I need people like that to know. I need people to remember, because you guys not only are responsible for a lot of people getting exposure that led to bigger things, you guys also, to me, were before the DVD era. And I think you guys had a very strong impact to the point where people took ideas from that Mass Cipher platform. You know what I mean? And, it is what it is. There's Michael Jordan, there's Kobe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you guys definitely were super ahead of your time. Like, it's so crazy that what you guys did back then, if someone was to do it now, would work. And you guys did this before social media, before the internet, before all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's take it back to the beginning. What was and what is Mad Ciphers?
Mad Ciphers. Well, the brand. Well, we were sitting at home late '99 on the cusp of 2K, right?
Yeah.
We was sitting at home. I came back from school, and Stalin, who I went to school with. We all went to school together. We all went to high school together. So Stalin, who was always into music, he was always somebody in high school who went back and forth with me when new shit dropped. I was always putting me up on something new that dropped, or I was doing vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And there was a bunch of shows back then on public access. There's in New York, public access was popping back then. They had Spick and Span. You had a few other ones.
You gotta tell them what public access is, because if a kid is 17, he don't know what public access is. You gotta let people know what that is, bro.
Well, it was a station, right? MNN, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and it was stationed down by 57th Street, right around John Jay.
Okay.
And they, between, I think it was 10th and 11th Ave around there. It was a station for the community. You know what I'm saying? So there's no rating system. There's none of that shit, Okay. So Stalin, my man Stalin, shout out to my partners, Gab and Stalin. You know what I mean? Stalin was the brainchild, basically. You know what I mean? He was the one who stormed the idea. He pitched it to me. I was hesitant at first. We started off with another cat who went to school with us as well, our boy Mario. Shouts to him as well. And it wasn't until I actually saw it on TV. I was procrastinating around that. I was just like, yeah, but I didn't know what it was. We was like, I didn't know what we were really gonna do. So it was just like, whatever. They got it going. And I caught it on TV, and the rest is history. As soon as I saw it on TV, that I saw the optics, I kind of knew more or less what I could bring to it and how I could add to it. So that was it. And then
that was a big deal. Y'all was actually on television. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And because there was no rating system, we had like a one box account. Okay. Where people would send their emails, or they'll call our voicemail, and that's how we knew what the temperature was on the streets.
Got you. So, first of all, before we get to that, what's your background before you get to the Mass Ciphers? Like, what made you want to get into music just to begin with?
Music is something. It's like my pops. He ingrained that shit in me. It was
Okay.
him. It came
Okay.
from him. He was, and we're multicultural. When your parents come from the Caribbean or from
Mm-hmm.
outskirts of here, they have what they listen to.
Yep.
Then you get the influence from here. Luckily, though, my pops was he was eclectic enough. He didn't. It wasn't just the Latin stuff, the Spanish stuff. It was
Yep.
also he was into pop and he was into the rap he listened to early on. He ain't like the shit with the curses.
Mm-hmm.
So he was listening to like Heavy D or Will
Okay.
Smith or
Got
people like that, which still kind of like it lets you in. It gives you a door in. You know what I mean?
Son, you
To know
said
what's
Heavy D
up.
and Will Smith. You made me feel wild old, and we there, but that's why I listen to.
you know, he ain't
Word.
really like he ain't like the NWA stuff. He ain't like none of
Yeah.
that. Like I think the first piece of music that I brought around that he was eye where he was hip to was probably Tribe Called Quest or something like that.
Okay. Got you.
And they're pretty, they're
Yeah.
safe to listen to. So
Yes, sir.
it is what it is.
Got you. So you've always had a passion for music, safe to say.
Yeah, all of it, salsa, all of it, man. Early on, you know what I'm saying? We didn't speak English. Early on, it was salsa, merengue,
Oh no, I knew
early on
that.
in the hood.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew that. Like, y'all barely speak English now.
Shit, this nigga
So,
crazy.
so you get together with your boys, right? And it's about something that you're passionate about, right? And where does the whole Mad Ciphers idea come from as far as the name and the branding and what you guys wanted to do as a movement? Like, you guys have this idea, you know what I mean? But before it became an idea, where did you build from? Like, what made you pick the name Mad Ciphers? What does that mean to you, Mad Ciphers?
Well, ciphers, it's like a gathering, so to
Okay.
say, of
Yep.
people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the mad is just like it's like slang for whatever. So we just went with mad ciphers. It just sounded hip, cool. And in regards to like the direction that it went in, we were kids back then. We just really wanted to have some dope shit on public access. We thought like we saw what we saw on TV, and we believed like, oh, there's a platform out there we could pitch. We were into hip hop. We had our own flavor. We had our own, taste on things. So it was at a point too in New York where like New York stopped breaking new artists. You know what I mean? This was I can't even recall, but I think like I could be mistaken, you know what I mean? But I just remember Fab getting broken on the radio, on Clue, and then like big New York guy after that. I can't remember. Now they coming through radio at least, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just like something where we were like, let's just provide another platform from New Yorkers, And part of the influence came from like the Stretch and Bobbito days, like what they did on radio. And we kind of like wanted to bring it to TV, like to the visuals, right?
Yep.
And it wasn't even that at first either. We were looking to cover like all aspects of hip hop, like the dancing, the DJing, the graffiti, and all of that shit. And callers and emailing and calling just to see artists. So it made us get on our P's and Q's about just scouting and finding new cats. You know what I mean? And that's how that came about.
That's what I was gonna ask you, because like you guys could have blew it, bro. You guys could have like had that opportunity and then chosen the wrong idea to run with. Like, y'all hit. You know what I mean? Like what you said, we wanted to cover the different aspects of hip hop, right? You eliminate the artists you've had from Mass Ciphers and that format that you guys came up with, that you guys are responsible for. You feel me? It's a totally different platform. You understand?
Yeah,
it might not be historical because you guys came with something different. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the good thing about it back then is that you're kids, so it's just going with the flow. You ain't even thinking business wise. You ain't thinking none of that yet. It's just about your pure taste, like really what you're into. So you're bringing that and putting that to the light, and then the masses just start fucking with it. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
And then the dope part about it was just when the streets took to it. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit was just that shit became just something else. It gave it life. Everything just took care of itself after that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Our scouting became easier. Getting people on became easier. All of that shit, man. Everything just, and it was organic. So that's kind of like why it happened the way it happened too. We weren't pressed or married to any idea. You know what I mean? We weren't pressed in any direction or married to any particular idea. We was just like, let's do some shit that we know is better than whatever we see.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or at least different. You know what I mean?
No, y'all definitely did that. You know what I mean? Y'all definitely did that because, like you said, you were getting emails and calls to bring out artists. So now you guys are gonna go this route. Let's entertain the idea of sharing our platform with these artists that people may know and may not know, right? So who was the first artist that you guys were able to get up there on Mass Ciphers?
I believe it was a guy by the name of Plex. He's from DYCKMAN area.
All right.
He was pretty nice. He was like, he ran like in the Nas AZ moon. He was pretty dope though. He was dope. He was local content. He was well received. You know what I'm saying? He was like the first one. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I believe like Uptown, in the Heights rather, it was Top Dollar. It might have been the Top Dollar guys.
Yes, sir.
I think we shot that out of the Corte Tropical barbershop. Shout out to Jesus. You know, man. Yeah. That's where we shot that first joint out of. Real talk.
So how was it like? How was the process of selecting who you do want to have up there when you get to because like you said, once people saw the vision, it wasn't hard recruiting. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when it was hard recruiting, how did you guys collectively come to like who you thought you would want to have up there? Like, what was that process like? And how was it like finding these people and tracking them down? Because we're not talking about IG and Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, people putting miles on their feet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Putting in work. You understand? Yeah. So what was that process like?
Like you said, it was like we had to grind to really look for who was dope. You know what I'm saying? So you really had to like scout around and just survey the hood whenever you went out with your peoples. If you saw somebody that you thought was dope, you know what I'm saying? You get in the ear about possibly coming on or whatnot. But some way, somehow though, we always had callers. Like once it took off, I remember we had them cats from them cats you had on from that would play the buckets, that would drum on the buckets down in Times Square.
Okay.
Remember those cats?
Yeah. The original.
We did something. Yeah. We did something, I believe, where we aired them, and it was like them, somebody rapping, and I forgot what else, and people was just filling it off of that. So they just kept getting, it was a little feedback there and there, and then it just grew. It just grew, and then the artists themselves, when they would come on, it was just like word of mouth. You know what I mean? And then like, you know the era it was in. Like there were little beefs and shit that started on the show, back and forth, so whatnot, and that really just set a trail for a lot of shit because it became like a week to week thing where people was just checking in. You know what I mean?
No, everybody was trying to get on that because let me tell you something, bro. Everybody knew what Mass Ciphers was, and then when the episodes got spicy was my favorites. Like when you knew that you had a team of dudes that was up there last week that didn't mess with the dudes that's up there this week, and they talk to each other. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people came up in those ranks. You got the T-Rexes, the Mooks, the J Mills, Votto, Charlie Clips, like all of them dudes, Team Hot. You know what I mean? Like you guys opened doors for a lot of people. You know what I mean? So in that process, when it's going, like what are you feeling? Like, because I'm talking to you. So what are you feeling as when you're seeing this come to life and it's like, wow, we did that. Like, what's that feeling like for you? Because you're putting on for the hood, G.
Yeah, we're fans. We were fans of it as we're putting it on. You know what I'm saying? So like if we go and we get the cat and we think he was ill, for the most part, we thought he was ill. If somebody wasn't that polished yet, We just, when it came to the Edison, see, that's a lot of guys didn't realize. Some will get upset, which is normal. You're gonna get that. Everybody's not gonna be content with everything, right? But what people didn't understand is that we was living in contribution before we realized that we were literally, when it came down to editing sessions, if a guy was chopping up or didn't look too good, we would literally sit there for hours on end to ensure that the person looked as best he could. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gotcha.
It wasn't just throwing it on there, and we did that from the inception, from jump. We did that off rip. We always handled it that way off rip, and clearly not just for the artists, but for ourselves too. You want good product, right?
Yeah, your presentation, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, but we were fans of it as we went. We was just fans of it too, and then like you get just as excited. It's just crazy shit started happening. Like I remember being down. I think it was LES, right? I'm down at LES with a homegirl of mine. We having like lunch at McDonald's or some shit, and there's some cats just grilling me across from some table and shit. And I'm trying to tell her to like get out of here. I don't know what's going on. These motherfuckers haven't stopped, right? Yeah. And it's down in LES. I'm like, yo, you know what? Let me get out of here. And I get up, and motherfuckers got up. I'm like, what the fuck? And they just catch me at the door. And they start talking about me, yo, you G from that shit. I was like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, okay. They're like, yo, G from that shit. I'm like, yeah, yo, good luck. Love. Yeah, so shit like that, man. It was just crazy. It was a lot of shit. The one boxes were full. The emails were coming in full. I would have to, we would have to like, during our work schedules, our lunchtime, it was just basically checking out the emails and checking out the voicemails. It was a different time. That was the only way you could gauge it. They didn't have a rating system. Yeah. So you kind of have to like find your ratings on your own. You know what I mean? Or figure it out.
Gotcha.
Figure out kind of like what your metrics are through your own, through the people, through word of mouth, and through reception like that. And then once the streets got to it, like it just becomes easy. You got guys that in the hood that hustle, and they may know cats elsewhere. Like that's how we got Rex. It wasn't directly through us. It was like I had an older cat in the hood that hustled. He knew some other cat, and they just brought Rex. And by the time they brought, he was like a teenager, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, he was a shorty.
That was one story. That's one way. Yeah, so it was just stories like that, shit like that went on.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
At what point did you realize you guys like y'all here? Like you see, like you said something like the dude from McDonald's running down on you, like, yo, you mad Ciphers, G, whatever. But like at what point for you, again, I'm only speaking to you, you can't speak for the fellas. At what point did it hit you like, yo, what we created has made an impact? Like you guys really are a staple in New York City hip hop, bro. Like the Lyricist Lounge, like Mad Ciphers, like it's
absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying, bro? Like I'm older, absolutely. I know. You feel me? Yeah. Like at what point did you feel that?
When we were getting direct calls, direct messages, they were coming in from DJs at Hot 97, at 105. People were labels were calling us directly for certain artists. You know what I'm saying? Wow. We got called in. We got called up to Baseline a few times when Rockefeller and them had made that their home. So so people had their eyes on us, and that's how we was able to gauge it, And then the streets, like, yo, you got to think about it. We were on at Monday night. It was on Monday nights, and then and it was like late, 10:30 and like 10:30 around there. And if you think about it, those shows, it was Monday Night Raw when Raw was Raw, right? It was Monday Night Football. Yeah. And clearly we wasn't competing with those ratings, right? But for the hood, in the hood, like for stories to come back, like, yo, it got deeper than that. Like Hustlers was putting their hustle on pause for that half hour.
Yeah, that's a fact, bro. I was in the
going to catch.
Yeah. Y'all was free time, bro. Y'all was free time in the hood, bro. That's
absolutely. So that's just different. You know what I mean? That stays with you. So, and then I would hear it was just started coming back from everywhere. I had boys that were getting ready to come home. They might have been in halfway houses, just ready, and they was telling me it was crazy in there. So it was just everywhere we went. We started getting good reception wherever we went.
So, okay, you guys got this momentum going. You loving the feedback. Everything's positive and everything is love that y'all getting. What are you guys looking at as far as like to try to evolve the whole mass ciphers?
Well, at the time,
and everything.
Well, at the time, we wasn't even thinking like that. But what we did to add to it was just always evolve with the editing. You know what I'm saying? We made sure the way we shot, the things we could control about it. You know what I'm saying? Everything we had control over, we made sure that presentation, whether it was down to the lettering that you saw, how you saw it censored, whatever it was, whatever optics about it.
Yeah.
You know, nothing was done. It was all organic.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? But it was also intentional. You know what I mean? So all of that, and we just kept growing. We kept growing in regards to the type of artists. It wasn't so much novelty acts anymore. We started looking for people that was gonna have like, you know, leg room, that was actually making tracks.
Yep.
Making headway into the game.
Yeah.
And then the results started coming back, and then just dudes started catching deals. Even there's guys that you guys may have never heard of that maybe they didn't get deals, but they got called into these labels. They had certain situations that they could have manifested into other stuff. So, you know, a lot of different people, you know, benefited from it.
No, that's a whole fact, because if you Google Mad Ciphers, you'll see repeatedly on a bunch of different feeds, these dudes were Smack before Smack. These dudes were this DVD before this DVD. Like what you guys did, like I said, before the social media era, you know what I mean? You guys were on a channel that comes on Mondays, like you said, you feel me? And people are knocking down your door to get on this platform because of what it may do for them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so many people that came through that whole Mass Ciphers era, like if you was there, you know that 80% of them, you can still talk about them today. And you know what they did after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you guys touched in on the battles, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe the first battle was Rated R and J Mills.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ray personally,
and yeah,
and he will never stop.
Yeah, he's from the hood.
Yeah,
and
he argues that.
There was a couple cats out there. I remember J.R. Rodder. It's hard.
What made you entertain the battle world?
I can't hear you, Drew.
What made you guys want to try that?
It was just like I said, it wasn't anything that we decided upon. Everything just kind of like took its toll. It just evolved. Everything just evolved organically. It was Mills that came on a bunch of times. Rated had been on a bunch of times through their own stuff, whatever it was out in the streets, their own battles. And it just it got to the point where we were the platform that got to put it on. That was it. And then from there on, when that was shown and everybody else, it just became something for everybody else. But that was the first one that we had on that where guys were actually in front of each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Face to face.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, a lot of the other ones, they were like kind of like disc records, right? Because that's kind of like how we served. We served like as a visual mixtape, so to say. So every Monday or so, it was like we were giving you somebody, putting a face to somebody new. You know what I mean? So
no, absolutely. And why not run with the battle route?
Like, because we weren't, like I said, we weren't really focused on just that. Our main focus after the public, you know, after everything it came around to like just about the MC and the rapping and the lyrics or whatever, or the artist. We just focused on that. We figured like, we kind of got off on it, right? It was almost like scouting for ball players, right?
Yeah.
So you going out there and you just figuring out, picking out who you think is dope, who you think is nice, and then then it just started to be like, oh, he's on the come up, he's dope, he's about to pop. We'll be one of to show him light, first feature him, and we kind of got off on that too, because hip hop started kind of like to lose its boldness, right? Yeah. Everybody, it went from something that was about newness and freshness, right? No matter how you got it, to like everybody wanting to be the person that supplied you with the new. And I think we had something to do with that. I feel like we had something to do with that. No, I'm dead ass. I mean that, boy. I mean that humbly because it's like we were just doing it, number one, because we thought the shit was dope. Yeah. Number two, when we realized it was really providing a platform for these guys. Think about it. They own their skills up there. They sharpen their skills up there. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Some guys couldn't, let's say, for instance, couldn't rhyme on a beat or were off beat, or eventually they just polish themselves enough. It's like looking at tape on yourself, right? Yep. And you come back and then you polish. Absolutely. And a lot of guys are going on to do great things. They're making a living. A lot of them are making a living off of this. Real working artists,
No, that's a whole fact. What was your run? What was the original first Mass Ciphers run?
The initial run, 2000 to 2006.
That's tough, bro. That's tough.
2002. Yeah. We put on over. Can't give you an exact number, but it was at least 275 different shows in that time frame. So different episodes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So many guys got signed and moved on to do. And the beauty of it is that it's not just artists. They haven't just became artists. It's not just the rappers or the producers. It's guys that become photographers or producers in other areas, or own their own brand, or have retail stores opening up. It's a lot of shit that came from it. You know what I mean? Sometimes we forget about it. We got to get reminded of it. You know what I mean? The alumni tree, is pretty extensive.
Who would you say turned out to be the highest profile alumni from the first? We're not talking about the relaunch, from the first run of Mass Ciphers.
Well, high profile, clearly it was Mills. He when he came on, it was just a completely different energy. Even before it touched the public, we just knew.
He had the record already, or no?
He might have. We didn't know him. We found out afterwards. Okay. But he was signed. I think early on he might have been signed to Warner Brothers.
Got you.
Or somebody else. Don't quote me, but it was something like that. He was signed to somebody, and then we ran up on him, and his shit was just different. His energy was different. I think we linked with Mills through a cat named Original, who was from 136, from the 130s around there. Rest in peace to him. He's passed away since. Okay. And Original himself, I think, Duck Down might have called this for him early on. So he was pretty nice himself, and I think he was the guy that went to school with Mills, and that's how we got across Mills. And Mills is just different off rip. He came in with he just did like he was like the first one to ever do that. He wanted to rap like 6 different times. He didn't want to stop. It was just, put this on, put this on. And then he took the opportunity. He was, he knew where he wanted to go, right? So he took the opportunity to I think he might have kicked 6 different flows. He might have, it might have been, he was like showing off, really.
Yeah, he took advantage of that 15 minutes, boy.
Yeah. So when he did that, it was just different vibe, and then we put that out, and then it just got. He just, it took on a whole different world. Harlem, even though Harlem was already watching, and Harlem was already with us, that shit just took on something else after that. Harlem was just like an official home as well.
So, okay, so let me ask you something, G. You guys, like you said, you got a lot of people reaching out to you guys now at this point, right? Trying to get in touch with these artists. Did you ever ponder the thought to say, you know what, let me see if I can start something where I can get these dudes deals and manage in the early stage? Was that ever an option for you, since you had so many people reaching out to you guys to get to these other artists and these other acts?
Well, early on, man, like I said, I was so young that I didn't even realize the power we yielded sometimes. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? We never. I think there were just mistakes you make early on.
Yeah.
You don't, because if you keep getting these calls from these labels, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all good to hand them off to the artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes whatever it is, right? But then if you keep hearing that these meetings, not all of them were turning out fruitful, and you were still getting the call. You're the point person, right?
Mm.
You're the common ground. You're the middle ground.
Yeah.
And early on, this is all in retrospect as well.
Absolutely.
So one thing we definitely could have done was walk in those label meetings
Mm.
with these artists. So
Got
even if they don't pan out, the common denominator is they see us every time. You
Yeah.
dig it?
Absolutely.
So that's just the reality of that.
Got it.
You know what I mean? But you
No,
learn that as you go. You learn that as you go.
no, for sure. Because y'all dudes, like I said, y'all dudes open countless doors for so many people on the first go round, and the second go round we're gonna get to right after this. But from your first run, who was your favorite episode? What was your favorite episode?
Episode. I don't know if I'll say I have a favorite, but this is just one that stands out was one I think we were at the Dipset barbecue, and barbecues Dipset used to do
Okay.
sometimes. And like I said, like shit starts speeding up on you. You
Yep.
don't realize that you should be hiring a team to handle calls, because it just starts getting so crazy that we lost some guys in the shuffle. Like I remember Mook calling us up early on, week after week, and I'm just thinking Mook is like, one of the regular people that was showing love. We would just give out frequent shout outs just to keep circulation going and show people love in return.
Yep.
And I would just shout out Mook on a week to week basis, like, yo, what up, Mook? And what he really wanted to do was come on.
Okay.
And I would never call him exactly to come on, not realizing who he was, right, at the time.
Yep.
This is before smacking all of this.
Yeah, I know. Fact.
So like what happens is we actually run into him finally at the Dipset BBQ, and that's he lets us know, like, motherfuckers, I ain't calling y'all to get a shout out. Like I want to showcase.
Yeah.
And I remember we just turned the camera on candidly. You know what I'm saying? And it turned into something that was one of my favorite episodes, because everything was candid. There was nothing planned.
Nice.
I always prefer it that way. I always just prefer everything to be candid. You capture people right in their essence, and it was just dope. What he did was dope. I remember 40 Cal being out there, some other cats being out there. Pretty dope night. It was dope. Saw some cats fucking chasing Cam's Pink Ranger down like the shit was Michael in it. Like Mike was in it. Grown men. This shit is nuts. Shit is fucking nuts.
So I gotta ask you another one, bro. Who do you think was the nicest from the first season, from that first run?
From the first run, I have so many guys, yo.
I can imagine. All right. Listen. I'm not even gonna do that to you. You had 6 years. Give me a top 5. That's fair. Give me your top 5 from the first 6 years. Mad Ciphers alumni, from the artists that went up there and did what they do. The 5 people that impressed you the most.
Okay,
baby. I'm giving you 5.
Well, we'll put Mills on there just because.
Okay.
His accomplishments or whatever, his feats. Impressed. So that's outside of just talent. Impressed. I'm gonna go full package. Yeah. So I'll say Mills.
You got J Mills.
Did Mills. Mano.
You had Mano?
Mano.
On the first?
Mano.
Nice.
We had Mano when he had just came home. And I'll tell you, we could get into why. We could get into the whys if you want to. Like, give us some context. Mano in particular,
hold up. Mano gotta be Mano got to be the highest profile alumni that you've had.
But we don't. The thing about Mills is that Mills is almost like
Mims. I said Mims. Mano got to be the highest profile Mass Ciphers alumni. He got to be ahead of Mims.
Nah, Mims wasn't Mass Ciphers alumni. Mills.
No,
J. Mills.
When you was talking about Mims, remember?
No, I was talking about that was Mills. I was talking about.
Oh,
Mills.
J. Mills.
J. Mills.
That did the 6 different flows and all that.
Yes, that was J. Mills.
Oh, because I'm thinking you saying Mims. I'm like Mims.
No. You talking about This Is Why It's Hot, Mims?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did he have
my bad.
He had that record out?
No, excuse me. I meant Mills.
J. Mills. Okay.
Yes.
I understood Mims. That's why I'm like.
Nah. Pardon me. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, Mills.
Okay, so J. Mills, Mano.
Yeah. Smoke Dizzer. Immortal Technique.
Tough.
Immortal Technique. The Fish Spot. I'll say Bodega Bams. I'll say Bams.
Tough.
Yeah.
But if you look at that lineup, bro, everybody there launched. Everybody, nobody there stayed a hood rapper. Like all of those people.
Nah. This isn't necessarily this is more like I'm going off of like full scale impact, because I have guys that are like the guys that I really like the diehard guys, because I didn't say, Vado was going super hard back then. Nem Low was going super hard back then. You know what I mean? And now I'm just saying, for the era we're speaking about, these guys.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then there's so many countless others, man. We had so many guys that was on there that did their thing. We had your old Drew on, Nems on. They came to the Mass Ciphers, your old Drew, Nems. We had a couple guys, man. We had some really dope guys out there, man.
Coney Island Nems?
Coney Island Nems, man. Nems was on here saying "fuck your life" early.
Yo, that's the most disrespectful.
Early.
His energy is crazy.
He had this thing. He used to come on. He's like, your mother's a gunter.
A gunter.
Yeah. He was on there early.
Yeah, that's a fact. So you guys are going 6 years strong, and talk about what held you guys back from taking it where it needed to go. Like you hear 6 years invested. What's going on? Let's talk about it.
It was just it wasn't necessarily anything that happened. It was just certain life things that happen sometimes, and it was 3 different members.
Yeah,
growing up, who lives are just going at 3 different speeds.
Yeah,
and it's not nothing internally. It's just like the outer skirts,
regular life, everyday stuff.
And then in regards to just what the show was going on, it was just like sometimes it feels like certain things run their course. We were kind of like just moving in different directions. Everybody started doing something different. You know what I mean? We started working on our own with separate entities. You know what I mean? Doing certain things like that. And that was that.
So you guys step away and everybody gets their grown man on. It's like you said, nothing. There was no conflicts or nothing like that. It was just
not
life.
at all. Everybody, that's family. That's my brother.
It was just life. Life happens, and everybody's life took their own turns. Now you guys get back together for this relaunch. Talk about that year. What year was that? I got 13. Am I off?
14 is when we was formulating it in 13 because you had kind of like insights to that because some of that shit was going on around you,
Got you.
But I think the actual launch was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 2014, and it was 2014, and it was just like I was going around. I still stayed in it, I still connected certain dots. You know what I'm saying? I still kind of like A&R certain things here and there, or linked up directors with artists or whatever, or plug somebody into somebody. So I was always kind of like in it. And Poe, you know, Poe wouldn't let me get away from it. You know what I mean?
Shout out Jesus Peace 178.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. So you know, he had just started his journey into it. So it was just like it was constant. I started making my rounds again, and then like I would see people here and there, and they would, you know, they would just be as enthusiastic about shit. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, oh, okay, oh, okay, okay. And then I think I went somewhere to see somebody, and I think they word got back to me that Yams was like inquiring about us, just, oh, do you know him, so and so? So we figured like, you know, they were the young guys at the time who were coming up. They were blazing their shit, and the way they did it was pretty dope. You know, it was unique in their own sense. So we respected that. You know, we respected that. They were also, they looked just like, you know, guys we would have had on. Yeah, because they were from New York. You know, we was proud of the fact that New Yorkers were coming through like that.
Absolutely.
And then it just turns out they a lot of them grew up watching this shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's tough.
So eventually we got to mix with Yams, and then, you know, it didn't materialize into what it could have because he passed away. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. Rest in peace to him as well.
To that man. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, you know, we were able to gauge shit like that on the comeback, and then we had more of a, it was just easier now. The internet makes it easier. Social media takes care of a lot of things for you.
That's what I wanted to ask you. So now you guys are getting back together to relaunch, but now it's a totally different ball game. It's a totally different era. It's not public access television anymore. Now it's internet, YouTube, you know what I mean? Facebook, Instagram, you know? So how do you guys prep yourselves for the relaunch as far as evolving to be able to stick to the old school mad ciphers, but in this new way that the new era is going to adapt to?
Well, whatever concerns we had around that went away when you go away, when you have an hiatus of 6 years, 7 years, whatever the case may be, and nothing's really sprouted about in that era, in that time frame, that kind of like, you know, it's hip hop. So it's like it's a copycat league, right? It's a formulaic, whatever works in one era.
Yeah.
It works down the line, right? So we figured like it can only get better for people pulling out cameras, right? Because back then it would be a hassle for us to get a camera into a club. Now they just let you in with it, right?
Yeah. It's cool to do it now.
Absolutely. So all that shit ended up just taking care of itself. Right now we were just like, yo, you know what? We just gotta go and just find heat. We can't go with novelty acts anymore. Meaning that, you know, even if you're nice and shit, but if you're nice and you just want to be posted up on a block or making music for your boys, that's all good. But we on this comeback, we just wanted to feature people that were making, you know, traction. You know what I mean? That were on the up and up, that were actually going to turn it into something.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are responsible for Dave East. I'm not for Dave East. Let me rephrase that. You guys are responsible for me learning about Dave East, because the first time I heard or saw Dave East was on your show. And then I go back and I check, yo, he been out. He got this, and he got Black Rose, and he got Hell Up in Harlem. And bro, Dave East, to me, you know, I told you this to your face. It was going to be hard for people to follow up the impact that kid made on that show. But that kid Trey Pizzy that y'all had too. That's his name.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. You guys tapped right back in. You guys, like, it's like y'all didn't miss a step, because back in the days you had T-Rex, you had Bottle, you had Clips, you had Mook, you had Team Hot. and countless other people that no disrespect to them, but you had who needed to be acknowledged at that time. You had everybody that was hot. Now you jumping back into it 6-7 years later, and you taking off the same way. You know what I'm saying? How was that? What do you
go,
bro?
It's a few things. It's the fact that we cemented for ourselves to go the first time around, right?
Yep.
What we cemented in the initial run, it cemented us, it stamped us, it gave us reputation, it gave us, everything that came with it.
Yeah.
And then on the second go around, like I told you, it was more of a plan. There's also like I said, we were approaching it from a more polished professional point of view. Like if we had labels reaching out to us and things of that nature in the first go around, then we got to make sure if it happens this time or things of that nature, it looks different, right? And just the way everything about the way we operated is just different. So you looking for people. It wasn't any longer necessarily about finding the guy first or the artist or whoever it was first for us. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It was possibly shedding light on somebody that was dope that might have already been there, and motherfuckers just wasn't shedding light on. You know what I'm saying? It was just putting our balls on the table, so to say, because it's just like I tell you, like everybody wants to get credit. There's people, the people that are in the culture want to get credit for being the first to or being on the cusp of, because that's just part of the dopeness of the freshness of the culture, right? Being the first to brand something and make it dope or hot, right? But nobody actually has the courage to like literally say, oh yeah, I think this is dope. They're always waiting for somebody else to do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's like a double edge. Like, what do you want? Like they want it both ways. You know what I mean? Yep. So that's part of the reason. That's part of what we pride ourselves on. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, listen, we just putting on what we want. Ain't no rules.
Took a chance. Y'all took that chance. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like,
and not everybody's hit. We've like, yo, listen, the lines have been open for years. There's niggas that's called and bashed us and said whatever, and we take it in stride like everything else.
You have to. That's a fact. You have to. Because at the end of the day, like I said, when people see me on this, whether you like what I'm doing or you hate what I'm doing, in order for you to hate it, you have had to have checked it out at least once. Thank you. I'm good, bro. You can tell 100 people not to mess with something, and out of those 100, 50 are gonna be like, let me see why they don't want me to mess with it. So it's all right. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you've kept it real humble. But what y'all started led to everybody, like not everybody, but led to a whole wave of success for a lot of people, bro. And I'm not talking about rappers. I'm talking about what y'all did as far as getting behind the camera and giving, because it's like even the DVDs, right? The DVDs, you'll get the Manos on there. You'll get the French Montanas on there. You'll get the Gucci, the Wakas, the Uncle Murders. But these is dudes that was ringing bells nationally. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these wasn't like, no, you guys took the chances to put people on television with the slot that you guys have that you don't know how it's going to be taken outside of their block. The T-Rexes, the Mooks, and the Vitals and all these dudes. Yeah, they was hot in Harlem, but you taking your time on television and you taking a chance with these dudes. And it worked because you guys picked the talent that everybody was messing with. You understand?
Yeah.
And it's not like people will ever say, I didn't like this about Mass Ciphers. No. If anything, I didn't like that I ain't get on. That's what you're going to hear from people more than who did get on. You know what I mean? So with that relaunch and having the internet, did it make things easier for you guys?
Yeah, it was just easier because you understood the aesthetics of not having to necessarily go so crazy to scout this go around. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's just easier to just pull up on somebody, and then the name took care of a lot of the scouting.
Yep.
this time around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was respected. So that took care of a lot of it, you know. And then we just made we that's why we went with East first. Like we didn't just decide to go. We scouted and scouted and scouted because we purposely wanted to, you know, have somebody with impact. And it just so nothing's coincidental. You know what I mean? Nothing's coincidental. Right. He was already about 4 to 5 mixtapes in. It wasn't like none of the ones that dropped, you know, after he was on our show, but he was already 4 to 5 in. He was already working.
Mm-hmm.
He already had mixtapes out there. It was more so about we was digging the music, and we just like, yo, let's give this kid a shot. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I definitely did that because I wasn't up on it until I saw
that beautiful story. This is a dope story, and then the beauty of that was we're sitting in the editing session, and we're thinking about how we're gonna edit it, how we're gonna chop it up. You know what I'm saying? Extend it, give it some life to the next episode, whatever. And then as we just sat there, we watched it all the way through uncut, and then we just watched it again all the way through uncut, and we just like, yo, let's just leave it like that. That's why we called it the spaz out. We didn't even cut through. It was just like he just went all the way through. You know what I'm saying? It was raw, it was dope. And then it was over some shit Cam. It was over one of Cam's beats. So then the producer himself, it just, like I said, social media took care of so much shit. Because whoever saw him on TV was they tagged the producer, yo, your beat is on here, and then the rest is history.
Fire.
Yeah.
So on the relaunch, now you don't got 3 young kids anymore. Now you got 3 grown men. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You guys are getting back together for this relaunch. What's the plans this time around? Now that you see how things work and you know how things work and you see how technology has evolved and how you guys can use it, what's the plan now for Mad Ciphers on this relaunch?
To make it like a one-stop shop for everything creative at least Uptown. You know, make it like a one-stop hub.
Yeah.
A place you could come to, and creators, by creators, I mean whether you're into art, whether you're behind the camera, whether you're behind the boards, whatever it was, right? It's just difficult sometimes in the hood, in your own hood. Like sometimes, you know, if people don't see the vision.
Yeah.
You know, and shout out to everybody doing their thing too, you know, because there's a lot of people doing their thing. There's a lot of people doing their thing. So shout out to them. But you know, when you know, there's strength in numbers, and people, and not everybody sees that. So we was thinking outside of just, we was looking at making it much bigger, which is still in the process. That's very much in the process as we speak. It's growing already. So, you know, making it a collective.
But what different approach are you taking like this time around? Like now there's a plan, because now you're not just putting all this work in and all this effort and all this time and taking away that time from your loved ones, because you guys all got 1,000 kids. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you're taking time away from your family.
It's crazy, yo.
Gab goes on vacation. It looked like he took a whole trip. Like he on a field trip. You know what I'm saying? So you dig? Like, you guys now, your time is a lot more valuable because you're actually taking time away from something to build this. So, you know, like, what's different in your guys' mind state? Like, you know, we can't waste any time. You know what I mean? Like, everything has to be what it has to be because we're grown, and if we didn't learn, then you know what I'm saying? Like, shame on y'all.
We're just looking to push the show forward. You know what I mean? Push this forward, push the platform forward in a much different way. You know, I obviously ground people on what we do, and then just move it forward because there's so much to do. There's so much we haven't done.
Got it.
What I mean?
Yes, sir.
On a much bigger plateau for the culture.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And really bring light because there's a lot of blurred lines too, man. Like, so much gets blurred. Like, you know, the whole argument with the youth and the older generation, that shit is just corny already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always been, you know?
Yeah.
The disconnect has always been. And then we have people in the culture that you know, we've grandfathered these people in. Some we call legends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're not carrying that torch properly. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah,
100%,
it's like
brother.
it's
100%.
so easy. It's so easy. Like, what's different than welcoming a youngin and than what the OGs did on the block? You dig what I'm saying?
It
What's the
depends what
difference?
block you're standing on. That's what I've.
It doesn't even matter. Even if they initiated you,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like in a way that was you know, prude or whatever. It is what it is. Like, but they still like, you know, you still had that process. Now it's just like there's no sitting down, there's no connect at anywhere. It's just like, oh, you young. You know what I'm saying? This shit is corny.
No, that's a fact. Let me ask you a question, G. We from the same neighborhood, roughly. You from up the hill, I'm from down the hill. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But what do you think? Why or what is it? The reason why there hasn't been a rapper hit from where we from?
I mean, what do you say about that? I don't, you know, what can you? I don't know, Drew. What do you?
Well,
what do you say?
we all have opinions. Listen.
What do you say?
We all have
bro?
opinions as fans of music, and I've heard music come from my hood that sounds just like the music that the rest of the world is embracing. So I'm not even saying it as from the angle that we don't have the talent.
No, I'm not talking talent at all.
I'm just saying, like, what do you think it is that hasn't opened the door for anyone from the Wash Heights or Dyckman area to get at least a little run, little 6-month run? You know what I mean? Like how it be, because you got the drill scene, you got the whole Brooklyn. Every week you got a new rapper and everybody's hitting. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been a lot of artists, singers, rappers that have come from our hood that were nice, but it's just like something. What do you think didn't allow them to reach that next level? Because it wasn't talent. You and I can both agree on that. Because I'm not at the same time, I'm not talking about everybody, because I won't give you listen, I'm gonna be nice. I don't think there's been 10 that I could say.
Being nice.
That I would say I could understand.
You gotta love him. You gotta love this guy.
I'm keeping it a buck, bro. I'm keeping it a buck.
100.
It's a handful. It's like the NBA, bro. Not everybody makes the NBA. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. You know what I mean? But there's a few that I think I'm like, yo, damn, how not? Like at least a shot, like a little run, like what do you think it is?
Well, for one, I just think when you're coming up on a new artist, right? We'll say this: when you're coming up on any new artist, wherever he's from,
yep,
you if especially if they're going to, you know, finesse you with their vernacular, with their slang or whatever, and bring you into their world, you actually want to come into their world. Like you don't want to go and listen to somebody from New Orleans who sounds like somebody from the Bronx, because you already know what niggas from the Bronx sound like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're already used to all of that. It's not gonna make any sense, right?
Yeah, fact.
And it has nothing to do with lyrics, because you could be lyrical. Big Crit is lyrical, right?
Yeah,
but he's from Mississippi. Yeah. So in our hood, I just think if we got so much diversity, so much cultural stuff going on exactly where we're from. Like there's so much to borrow from and talk about from there. I just feel like if people were just more authentic to who they really were, you know what I'm saying? We could be influenced by outside music, outside sources or whatever, but just be like whoever you like. A lot of people are confused, right? It was just confusing with the ASAP guys when they first came out. Because it seemed like, but what they were really doing was just giving us, it was kind of like what we're doing. It was just putting on their taste, like what they like. But they still sound like they're from New York. Yeah. When Rocky raps, he sounds like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not even so much about boxing them in, like you gotta sound like a New Yorker. That shit is dead. That shit is played out. But you know, like have some authenticity to it. You know, and I'm not talking about have some genuity to it. And I'm not talking about the things that you did necessarily matching what you're saying, but just be authentic as an artist. Like, do you really love this? Like, you know what I mean? Are you doing this for what reasons? You know?
Yeah.
And I think if you had more of that for real, like really like honing in on who you are, then it'll come. And then nowadays, it just looks like wherever. It doesn't matter where you come from, right? It just looks like wherever. It looks like a gumbo pot. Yeah, it looks like a gumbo pot from wherever you're at. You know, kids are influenced by what they're influenced these days, and all that regional shit means nothing.
At all. Because like the hottest music coming out right now is that drill sound from New York.
Yeah, I'm digging it. There's a lot that comes with it, but I'm digging it.
The violence, you know what I'm saying?
There's a lot that comes with it. But the young boys ain't playing, man.
Is catchy. Is I think it serves its purpose. Because they're not trying to be super lyrical. Let me teach you about this and my life story. They talking that life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a subgenre of hip hop, right? We always had those. Like, remember the horrorcore shit?
Yeah.
With the grave, it's just another one, and and there's a lot of them are doing their thing, you know, and not just how they're approaching the music, but how they're approaching their business. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I mean, the unfortunate part is everything that comes with it.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, but because the shit is really happening.
So you are A&R now. What's some of the projects?
I mean, I always have in a way. So I always have. I got some things I'm working on with Poe, man, just to put it out there in that sense. Yep. We you know, as that comes, you'll know.
Yeah.
I got some things we're doing with that. And just any other artist that reaches out to me from relationships I've built in the past.
Okay.
And things of that nature.
Question for you, brother. What do you feel about the state of New York hip hop and radio, New York radio?
I don't think anything of it anymore. Like I feel like it's not. I mean, it can still excite you here and there, but it's not what it was. It doesn't hold the weight it once did.
At all.
You know what I mean? And like I said, the whole New York conversation is that one too. Like you know, all that it should you just gotta enjoy what you enjoy. There's still plenty of people that you know do it quote unquote from the purest form, from the pure and sense of it. You can just find whatever kind of hip hop you want to listen to, you can find it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's no about, and you can find it in good quality. You know what I mean? Wherever it is. It's just that the dominant one in the mainstream isn't the boom bap anymore.
Oh no, not at all.
And it ain't never going back to that.
Ever again.
And people should just it's not something that things evolve, you know, you can only grow. Like it's not.
I was having this conversation with two young spitters from my hood, and I'm like, yo, y'all can rap, but you're keeping it too real to that era that made you fall in love with hip hop. To do numbers and to really put your talent out there, just shake that boom bap and put the words together another way, and you got it, because that's not coming back.
Or you can stay true to yourself, because you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, back to that question about artists in our hood and all of that, there are artists in our hood that are working artists. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that it wasn't like isn't this like crazy spotlight shut on them. Shout out to Pearl Gates. He travels, he tours with Master Ace and a bunch of other guys, and they go to Europe and back and forth, and he pays his bills and he has his own stuff. So he does his thing. Like there's a lot of guys that are actually working artists. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And are actually nice with it, right?
Yep.
In regards to it being like mainstream and what you're talking about, that's a whole nother ball game. That's a whole nother ball game you're playing, you know?
Bro, Griselda was able to pull it off.
We some of that initiation came at your place. I think the initial time I played the video when I got put on was at your place, and I actually played it for you guys to gauge you guys. And not everybody, it was lukewarm at first.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying? It was lukewarm.
My man Nesta, he goes by the name Incredible NES. He's on
yes. Yes, he
No,
did. He did some records with Conway early on. I remember.
bro, he been telling me about Conway since so long, bro, and it's just like, you know, being here, so much coming out. But for them kids to come out now with the sound they have and be accepted the way they've been, I don't think another group could do that in 2020 with that sound, bro.
There's, but listen, miraculously enough, though, here's the thing: like, if people are really paying attention, well, first of all, when they came out, their energy has opened up a whole nother. Like, there's so many kids that are in that lane, or in that, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying, are in that lane, and it's working for them. Like,
Yeah.
like, it's a different kind of hustle, right?
Yeah.
So their thing is theirs is more like grassroots, and it's like, like, you got to touch the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've opened up, their entry in has opened up a lot for so many others, some that were already here doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's, Rock Marciano should get his credit. He's been around doing it for a while. Shout out to Doom. Rest in peace, Doom, right?
Yeah.
He's been doing it for a while in that kind of, like, in that lane. And they built their cult following, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, so these guys, it was like a boy of ours from high school used to play ball with me. He put a song to them. He's from up there in Rochester, and and I was like, we asked them, like, where you guys pitching your shit at, and they was going to Atlanta, and we was baffled by how, I'm like, who's, not to be, like I said, not to box people in, but I'm like, who's listening to this in Atlanta?
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah,
but they were pushing their shit. They were moving their shit down there. They got connections to Rocco and all of that down there, or had. I don't know about that, but that's kind of like where that was happening. And we were just like, we knew it would work up here just because it was different. It wasn't about. It may have sounded similar to something that came before, but it was progressive. It wasn't like they weren't stuck in that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like moving forward. It sounded differently, crisp, all of that.
Yeah.
So because of it, we knew there would be ears for it,
Yeah.
And all it took was for them to really step into the city, and the city with the bias that we have, but about not being from the city, but it just worked. It slowly but surely, all them avenues opened up, and the rest is history, man.
Yeah, because that's the last I think that can pull that off. Because I know a lot of people. See, I'm one that always listen to music. Like, when it comes to hip hop, I listen to music for the bars. Like, I used to just zone out. Like, I didn't really care about beats. You know what I mean? Like, I cared about what they were saying. I'm old, so when rap evolved,
I'm calling you Cabo. Ain't nothing wrong with being old. As long as you're not stale, you heard?
Be here.
As long as you're not stale.
But what I'm saying, but in hip hop, old means something, brother. Listen, let me take you there. Once the era that I was able to still listen to slowly faded out, because at the end of the day, hip hop is a young man's sport, bro. You dig? That's what it is. So as the times change and you get older, you're not into certain things. So in turn, I wasn't into certain sounding artists. So it was like, to me, I'm in my car, I'm listening to old school stuff, like, you know what I mean? And then it came back around. Then it came back. You get the Dave East that is like, okay, look, he's doing both. He got the sound and he got the beats. You know what I mean? Like, he actually saying something. Like, that's my type of thing. You feel me? Like, when it went away from that and it went more to like just how like catchy you could sound, they lost me. You know what I'm saying? They lost me. Like, I couldn't jack it. But it goes full circle, because now you get people that, like you said, ain't from here, that sound like they from here because of the content that they want to put out. Not everybody's a bubblegum rapper. So when you get people like these like the Buffalo kids, Conway, Benny, and West Side Gun, you put them on certain beats, and it's like, this is phenomenal. Sometimes they lose me, but for the most part, they never not deliver with the bars. I can live with that. You know what I'm saying? I can live with that. I can live with that any day of the week, because I know even if I don't like the beat they chose, I know what they saying. I could do it. I can get by like that. More Conway and Benny than anything, but I could live with it. You know what I mean? And plus, Nestor been telling me about him forever. And then he got on his album, so I'm gonna check that out because that's the little bro. So that's when I was really introduced to like a lot of his music and his catalog, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like these dudes is picking that same shit that's going on out here.
Yeah. I was always more of an eclectic listener. Even though I did have the New York bias at some point, I think we all had that, right?
Yeah,
I had that, but as I got older, that shit, it faded away. Like when I went other places and met other people, and I was just always, no lie, man. They'll tell you, the team will tell you, I was always the guy that in the hood or on the block that they were like probably calling the weirdo because I was listening to like NWA or UGK or some shit from out of here. You know what I mean? Like I was really big into Outkast when they dropped, and then just other people from back in the day. So it was I never really, that's why I was into Pac off rip. I like Pac off rip. You know what I'm saying? So it was when the beef.
Before he went to the West Coast. You talking about original Tupac?
Yeah, like Black Power.
Yeah.
I was into Pac off rip, and then when the whole shit happened, I just thought you that's when you feel the New York bias, right? But because you're in your adolescent ages and shit. But even then I let it go because then you're a man yourself, you're older and you think outside of the box, you think yourself, you have empathy, shit like that. Just helps you think past certain points. And that was that. And we always loved Pac and shit like that. Mostly anything from anywhere. I was listening to as long as it had some type of good composition to it. Nowadays, I know what you're saying about what you're saying. You're that. A lot of my boys is like that. There's a lot of listeners. It's just about the way your ear is, right, and your palate. But there's a lot of people that you just gotta. Sometimes when it doesn't sound as lyrical, it may be. It's just like I'm gonna go there. I'll take somebody as like Young Thug, right? Like initially, right when he first came out. You see what you see, and people just go off image and what you see. And it's just like, oh, whatever, this nigga wilding or he had a skirt on or whatever. Even myself, right? We all have our prejudices, right? But if the way he's talented and the way he's skilled, it's in a different way than what we came up on. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna be, if you're looking for him to be like a wordsmith, like a Black Thought, then it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? That you're disappointed off rip. You don't want to hear that shit. But if you listen and you listen to the music, and you see how he utilizes his voice as part of the melody, and you realize that there is wordplay in it. Sometimes you got to see the words on the paper. You know what I'm saying? To see what exactly he's doing to play with it. You know what I mean? And to flip him. And like I said, it's nothing like, so he ain't weaving in and out of like intellectualness, but just for the art, right? For creativeness, the art,
the craft,
and newness. It is craft. You know what I'm saying? Being able to have skill. It just looks different. And not everybody, and then there's just a bunch of bullshit. That's just where the climate is at too.
No, that's
funny though that we came. It's so funny though how I remember a lot of movies we came up on were parodying this shit, and back then it looked like a bunch of jokes.
Yeah,
all it looked like was a bunch of jokes. And now when you see it, it's complex though. It's not as easy as it looks. It's complex because at the end of the day, there's a lot of kids getting out the hood. Right, feeding their fan. At what cost? You can ask that at what cost in some cases, but they still doing their thing. A lot of these little niggas is about their business more than a lot of cats. Before, you know what I mean?
Absolutely,
they're actually getting their bread.
Yeah, they owning shit. They not
everybody. You got to think
everybody.
about it. They're not putting out. we came up on an era where it was just album driven, right?
Yeah.
People were making these classic projects entirely. Majority of these kids ain't got no classic albums, but they making their mark.
Yo, bro, I was watching an interview with one of these young rap kids, and he said, I don't care if I never get played on the radio, right? He said, I'm doing millions of streams online. I don't need the radio. That's a fact of what it is, bro.
Yeah, it's different.
Like the hottest artists in the game right now aren't even on the radio.
Yeah. You could go on IG. You could scroll through IG, explore page or whatever, and you'll see producers pulling out plaques,
Fact,
X, Y, and Z, and you don't even know who they are. And they
exactly.
just, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really just stay, you know, as long as you can find, Paul told me this a long time ago. As long as you can find, he initiated that idea, as long as you can find a pocket of fans, which may have always been like that, but you know, you find a pocket of people who stay loyal to you, and you could grow that, you'd be all right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole fact, bro. That's a whole fact. I ain't gonna hold you up too much more because you're starting to look uncomfortable. So
man, not with you, man.
Let me get your top 5.
All y'all sports talks.
No, let me get your top 5, and then we're gonna talk 2 things about basketball. But let me get your top 5 MCs
of all time.
That your personal. It doesn't have to
my
be
personal,
that you think
my personal.
That you think they're the best 5. Your favorite 5. Because my favorite 5 and who I think are the best 5 are 2 totally different lists.
Yeah. Okay. So my favorite 5.
Your favorite 5.
I'm gonna go. Just to where I'm like what I came from is just I'll say Biggie, J, and Nas. Right.
Okay.
I'll say them as a trilogy. And you know, we've been lazy. Sheesh. Andre 3000.
Okay.
I don't know, man. You could say Rakim, maybe.
Rakim?
Big Daddy Kane, maybe. I don't know. The first one, put Snoop in there. That's a whole.
You knew English when Rakim and Big Daddy Kane was on the radio?
Yeah, I knew English by then. Big Daddy Kane was my favorite by then.
Okay.
We could get into that. I didn't want to touch that with you because you know
1985 and 84. You knew English.
We could get into all of that.
G, I don't think so, G. I don't think so, G. I'm about. I think I'm what 2 years or how many years older than you am I? How many years older than me are you?
Yeah, listen. All I know is when I came into high school, you was well out of there.
Oh yeah, when you played in seniors, you was well out of high school. It's all good. I know that Elvis Rivera ain't twins, so there's no way y'all was 19 the same summer. Yo, talking about that dude. Yo, can you believe your little brother dubbed me to do one of these? Me paying homage to his basketball career. And who shot JR?
Let's not do that to them. I don't think they dubbed you, man. They
did. They definitely did.
No, they not dubbed you.
Listen. I'm not gonna give the reasons they gave me because those are my little brothers, and I don't respect what they said. But they definitely dubbed me. 100% facts. I'm not putting no smoke on it. That's what they did.
But listen, you're doing your thing, right? You're doing your thing, right? And it's a platform, and it's a platform that's real talk. You're in contribution right now. What you're doing is paying it back.
Yeah, I'm paying homage, bro.
So when somebody, I mean, we've come across the same dealings, right? Whoever they may be, right?
Yeah,
when somebody, for whatever reasons, isn't ready or may not, it's not even they may miss something. They may be missing out on something. You see what I'm saying? Because
they'll be all right. Because those are always going to be my dudes. They'll be all right.
Yeah,
they'll be all right.
So you know, you just gotta keep trucking. Because like the shit's taking on. You're doing your thing. You're taking on. Y'all see the growth. You know what I'm saying?
I'm grinding, bro. I'm trying to figure it out, see what it is, and you know, I'm trying to talk to the people that I feel need to be spoken to, like yourself. You know what I mean? Like I've seen a lot of people from where we from not give it enough, not pay enough homage, bro. Because at the end of the day, Mass Ciphers was a part of the culture. You guys really, 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 really cemented your brand in the history of the hip hop culture. And I just think that it's not spoken about enough. So you know what? Let me reach out and show my man that I appreciate what him and his team did. You know what I mean? Even though as Mass Ciphers G, I can't stand you. You know what I mean? But George Rivera is a great dude. I love. That's my little brother. Like that's my guy. But you know, I kept we kept it cordial today. You feel me? Because we on here. But me and you ain't never get along this well for an hour and 20 minutes since we've met each other. Geez, we ain't happy either. Me and you argue about the time of day. Like we ain't gonna switch it up because we on here. But one thing we can agree on is that what you guys did was monumental, and I respect it 100%.
Love, man, love.
You know what I mean? Now, last two things. What do you think about what Kyrie's doing? Before you answer, this is me with my outside. You know me, bro. I think different, right? So how about if Kyrie Irving, right, has been doing all this nonsense so that the Nets don't trade him because nobody's gonna want to inherit that headache that he's giving the Nets right now, to avoid getting traded and still get Harden on the Nets? Do you think if that's what he did, is that boy?
I think right before we broke to this, I saw that they already got him.
No, it's done. It's done. But what I'm saying is, I didn't think that move would be made without.
Who they traded for Harden?
Oh,
who they get?
Paris LeVert, Allen, and like 77 picks and a kid Keurig.
Okay. Well, yeah. I don't think that he was going to be part of any trade to begin with.
Okay.
I don't think Kyrie was going to be part of any package that they had leaving.
How do you think about what he's been doing lately, and like what's your opinion?
I don't know how to call it, man, because at this point, right, we could say like if anything, if experience and age has taught us anything, right, it's just that we really don't know what's going on internally with these guys sometimes. What we know is what's going to sell the news, what's going to sell the papers, right? It ain't going to sell as many copies if we get the truth, and the truth may be that he's going through some mental shit, right? Yeah. That ain't going to sell as much as like, yo, this nigga was out partying and he had his mask off, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and that's not to say, listen, B, like, then this bottom line clear cut shit where if you're an employee and you got a gig and there's that.
He said, I just don't want to play.
And that's the part that's like I was in the shop yesterday getting a cut, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I hear niggas talking about that, and I'm like, yo, but did he give a date? Like, did he give a deadline? And niggas is like, nah, that shit's up in the air. And I'm like, oh, I don't know then. I don't understand that part. You know what I mean? But you could tell he's he has his father there. He has his pops there. It ain't like he's navigating alone. You know what I mean? Like, so it might just be who he is at this point. Some people are just eccentric, for lack of a better word, right?
That's a fact, because he's putting up this fuss and he doesn't want to go anywhere. James Harden, on the other hand, is putting up a fuss to get out of somewhere. So that's
player power these days, man. That's just the power they have these days. That's just.
And I'm not mad at the players having the power, because the owners still get the money. But I'm not mad at players having that power, because the players are why the owners are successful. So I'm not gonna take that away from the players. I just think that these dudes need to move a little more like men, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a James Harden fan since Arizona State. I'm a Kyrie fan since I saw him play as a freshman. And it's like, yo, dude, come on, son. Like, at the end of the day, don't forget how many countless people look up to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, what message are you sending? You don't want to be on a team, just act up. That's not going to work for everybody.
I don't think so. I don't think so either.
There's not 100 James Hardens. There's not 100 Kyrie Irvings, bro.
But everybody's not. The thing is that with when you say player power, it becomes general, right? It becomes general. Like when LeBron exuded it, he wasn't just doing it for himself. You know what I mean? So what happens is with that, everybody ain't LeBron.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fact.
Everybody's not LeBron. So it's like humans. Things can get complicated in life, but human beings complicated more than anything, right? So it's just like
100%.
you put somebody in that mixture of that, and whoever it is, this is what you could get. Like, and then with Harden, it's just like, I mean, like, you know, sometimes we seen teams do niggas dirty too. Patrick, you ain't got sent to Seattle, my nigga.
Bro, James Harden had everything in Houston, bro. They were getting
right, and they was offering them a whole nother bag.
Whole bag, and they got rid of anybody he didn't want there whenever he wanted. Like, nah, you know what? Get him out of here. Give me him. Nah, get him out of here. Give me him. I don't like the way he taped me yesterday.
Well, in that regards, yeah, absolutely.
These dudes is wilding out, bro. But regardless of that, again, I salute you,
Kyrie, when Kyrie plays, Kyrie's.
Now I think that's it. I think Kyrie's gonna go get quarantined, and now he's gonna go back and play basketball. Yeah. I think he was just like, you know what? Let me just act crazy so nobody want to include me in this James Harden trade. And now we got him, and let's see what they can do because they have no rim protector after DeAndre Jordan. So I still like my Lakers' chances of getting them out of here. So I ain't worried about them, bro. But
they can go back to back.
They should. They need to. Like, I don't see anybody beating them in a 7-game series. I see Brooklyn being the closest because of Kevin Durant. Not even because of James Harden, but because of Kevin Durant. We've seen what Kevin Durant does. I just think Kevin Durant, for everything he's going through here, I would have just stayed in Golden State, bro. I'll keep it a buck with you. He was already there. There was already chemistry there. Everything was good there. If Draymond was the problem, trade him for a soda machine and a pack of beers and get him up out of there. You Kevin Durant.
Who they gonna put on Kyrie though if they make the finals?
Who, the Lakers?
Yeah.
Who can stop him? No one.
No, they're gonna. Who do you think guards him? Who do you think guards him?
Pope.
Oh, Pope. Okay.
Yeah, that's who we gotta put on him. We're not gonna put LeBron on him. You know what I'm saying? Or Schroeder. We got Schroeder. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be right there. One of those two. Who they gonna put on AD?
No, they don't have an answer for that no more. They wilding.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. So I like our odds. You know what I'm saying? I like our odds, but we're gonna see how it plays out. I gotta have you on here for one of the sports episodes, even though cool. The sports is good because me and you never agree on anything sports either, bro.
We've agreed on. I've agreed on half of the shit I've watched when I watched the episode. So
but not to my face. That's just how you are. Yo, G, I appreciate you taking out the time to do this, my brother. I really, really, really do. And I hope to see something, man. Ciphers soon, B.
Listen, man. I just don't. You know, we're gonna. I don't want to let nothing out the bag.
I'm just saying what I want to see as a fan and as a family member. I want to see y'all win, man. There's a lot of money that a lot of people made that should have been in your pockets. I want to see y'all make.
That's love too. That's love, man.
You know what I'm saying?
We appreciate that.
Even though I never got a Matt Ciphers hat or T-shirt, I still support. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all my dudes, B. You know what it is, G Money.
Listen, man. Props to you. Shout out to you, man. You deserve it, man. Y'all shit you doing on here, showing love and doing it dope too. Doing it dope. Nice aesthetics. You know what I'm saying?
I'm figuring it out. You know, I don't like being on the camera and all that stuff.
Nah, you're doing it though.
I appreciate you, Mike G. I appreciate you, man. But like I said, I got to get you back up here for a sports episode. Your punk brother won't get on my show, but wait till I catch him. I'm going to run up on him with a camera, and I'm going to put it straight to my YouTube. And that's how we're going to do it. You already know.
Love, Drew.
Love you, my brother.
What's the word?
And you already know. I'm going to holler at you when I holler at you, broski. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of What's the Word podcast. That's my brother right there, G, from Mass Ciphers, legendary staple in hip hop. And if you don't know, go back and check it out. You know what I mean? It's on YouTube. He got the footage up and out. Show love. I'm going to see y'all when I see y'all, unless I see y'all first.